The one we're focusing on is the clip chart, but what's your other stuff here?
So we have chore charts too. They're not necessarily chores, they're allowance charts. These are jars for what the kids put their allowance in. They have a jar for spending and...
What is that mess?
These are all like school notebooks. Obviously kids help put that stuff away, but it's all school notebooks and then like children's church papers and stuff like that, things that they work on during the week.
And then your chalkboard.
Chalkboard, that changes all the time. Yeah,
okay.
Sometimes it has schedules or
Oh,
whatever.
that's adorable, and your backpack's down there. Mm-hmm. Who's the hero that made that board with all of the things on there?
Yeah.
So you must
an
have been
amazing man in my life.
Okay. So, this is the one that we're focusing on, though.
Yep.
That's where we keep it.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of in a central location. Welcome back to Crazy Blessed Adventures, where the links are in the notes, the fights are in the recording, and the kids are hopefully still in bed. And today we're talking about our behavior chart that started out as a good idea, and then we just kept changing it and modifying it. And
yeah.
So go ahead, take it away.
So the behavior chart in our house really has helped a lot for the purpose of having there be predictability and consistency in what the kids get as rewards or consequences for the behavior. It kind of does away with the nagging, really, of, I told you to do that 3 times, why haven't you done it? And the decision of, does this mean it's a timeout? Or does this mean I have to give you a spanking? Or
it gets rid of that if you use the system.
If you use the system. But the system helps kind of level the playing field for everybody, and everybody knows what to expect and what is going to happen. So the way that it works is we have the different colors here. Everybody in our household, we choose to start it on green for the day. So there's different colors.
Originally, we started out at the highest, and then as they got in trouble, they would clip down, and they'd get consequences. But then we had no way of pushing them higher than that, so we ended up starting them lower than that.
Right. So they start on green. Green just means it's a good day. They can clip up for good behavior, and they clip down for bad behavior. And those are all established behaviors in our house. They know what they are. So there are things that not obeying the first time, that means that you clip down. Or if I start giving you an instruction and then you're completely ignoring what I'm saying or not acknowledging, that's also a clip down. Being unkind. So stuff like that, these are established things that we've talked about that they know that they will clip down for. So that goes down color. Clipping up is when they have good behavior, if they're a great example, or if they're really kind to somebody, or they're the first one to obey, or a great helper at cleanup time or something like that. And these are also generally pretty well established things. Then they can clip up. So the way the colors work are there's green, yellow, blue, orange, and red, and each one of these is tied to a particular consequence, and then going up are tied to some incentives. So in our household, and these are just things that we know that are important to the kids that like would mean something as a consequence or an incentive. So the green, if they stay on green all day or clip up to green at some point, then that is, they earn technology time, so they can spend time on their Chromebook or tablet or whatever.
We have very flexible bedtimes.
We do.
They go to bed, and it's not for a long time that they sleep after that. Part of it is because I put them in bed at 3 in the afternoon, and part of it is they just like to stay up really late.
We are all late night owls in our house. No morning people live here. So a lot of times that means after they get in bed, then they get to spend time.
So what's going to happen for the rest of the day
Right.
once you're in bed? So then technology time is so they get to play with their tablets in their bed.
Right.
Or
the yellow is kind of the warning area. There's no consequences tied to it, but there's also no incentives either. Blue generally is a timeout, and that's usually a shorter timeout, like the number of minutes that corresponds to their age. The 5-year-old gets 5 minutes, and so on. The orange means that they need to go have a nap, and usually this is like the last measure before red, which means that they are in bed for the rest of the day. So usually if somebody's ending up on orange, they really need that break time to kind of reassess their behavior and
we do too.
the kind of choices they need to make.
we need to reassess too. Like
Right.
if it's actually 2 o'clock and
sure.
they're already down on orange, then we have to not clip them down. We've got
Right.
to find a way, some
Yeah.
other path around that because
Yeah.
they can't be going to bed at that time.
Right. So that's one of the big things is, they have the established things for clipping down and the established things for clipping up. We kind of do need to watch for when they're repeatedly clipping down. So this kind of happens when kids are, especially tantrums, tend to go this way where they're just not in control of the behavior at all. So you say, oh, you just clip down because you're not obeying. And then they're laying on the floor screaming and kicking. And if I clip them down again, it's not really going to trigger any kind of response. They're going to just continue to kick or scream. So a lot of times when there's a behavior that's warranting like a repeated clip down over and over again, then rather than doing that, rather than clipping them down, that's usually an automatic timeout. And that doesn't happen for more than 1 or 2 of the kids in our house. And it's really a personality thing. But those
And an age thing?
And an age thing, yeah, definitely. But those particular kids need that like break time to pull themselves together and recognize, oh yeah, no, I don't want to end up on orange or having to go to bed this early in the day, and so I'm going to pull myself together. And given that time to collect themselves, then they usually do. So I don't let kids just clip down over and over and over and over again, because then you do end up with a kid in bed at 2 o'clock and then you have to go to soccer practice, and what do you do with them then? When kids are down low on the colors, then you want to watch for times that you can clip them up. So even if somebody's having a really rough day, then it might be something really minimal that gets them clipped up, but it's something, any kind of positive behavior, then I'll clip them up just to help them like stay out of the orange and red territory. But also positive reinforcement does go a long way. And when they see, oh, I really can do it, then they get that burst of encouragement that they need to help make better choices after that a lot of the times.
I think the older they are, though, the worse strategy that is, because they're going to recognize that, oh, so it's easy to get clipped back up if I'm bad because mom feels bad that she clipped me down so many times. So it's not really a big deal if I clip down because she's going to try to help me get back up. So especially for the older kids, like a more consistent, if you earn lots of consequences, you get lots of consequences. Well, tomorrow's a new day.
Sure. It's true that the approach is definitely going to be different for different kids because, like you said, the personalities and the ages of the kids are a huge factor.
You said personalities.
Okay, you said ages, I said personalities. Yeah.
Yes, sure. Because the younger ones can't control it. Literally can't control themselves. They don't even recognize that they have emotions, much less that they're being controlled by them.
Sure.
So that takes a lot of steps to get to the idea of I'm having this flash of hormone in my brain, and I need to not let that influence my decisions.
Yeah. No, that's true. I think personality does weigh into it too, though, because some kids just at least in our household, some kids are more naturally prone to an angry outburst or a really emotional outburst than other kids are, and they just need that time to like pull themselves back from that. And once they have a moment to cool down, then they have the tools to make better choices following that.
Yes, some kids naturally make better decisions about their behavior or more easily follow rules.
Sure. And some kids are more easily incentivized by things like we have the top 2 things we have on here are the top one the purple one above green. We call it purple time. And that's just after bedtime. Again, bedtime is a little fluid in our house, but after bedtime, the kids who are on purple or higher get to have special time with Papa. And sometimes it's video games and sometimes it's board games or coloring or something, but it's just time for the people who earned that incentive in the day. And there are kids who are kids in our house who are more motivated and better at strategizing their motivation, I think, to like, I know I want to be on purple today, and so I'm going to do whatever I can to clip up immediately in the day so that I can just stay there rather than like trying to save it for a last minute thing.
But that's a personality thing too, though. No, I think that's a
Okay.
personality thing
Yeah.
too, and I think the kid that you're thinking about, who's really good at that, is that's his personality is just it makes it very easy for him to follow directions
Yeah.
and to get along and
Yeah,
obey.
totally.
But that's what this is.
Right.
This is a scorecard for kids getting along and obeying
Yeah.
and following all the rules. So
Yeah.
some kids just naturally are going to have a disadvantage. I don't think that we should change the rules around for the
Well,
clip chart based
okay.
on that, because when we play basketball, the tall kids are just going to have an advantage. Sorry, short kids. That's the game we're playing. This game is obey, follow the rules.
Yes and no. If it were just a matter of points and it's like an objective type thing in basketball, that you're going for something different. With this, I'm going for teaching my kids to have appropriate behavior. And so what that looks like in one child is going to look different from another child. Not to say that appropriate behavior looks different, but the things that one kid is learning and working on, I know are different from what another child is working and learning on. So the one who is going to struggle more with controlling her anger and
Why would you say her?
no reason. the one kid who's working on that in particular, and that's her current struggle, I'm going to be more prone to finding other ways to encourage her. Like, if she comes and talks to me about something before the outburst starts, then I would incentivize that by clipping that up, where I might not necessarily do that with another child who that's not a thing for them. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So I want her at the end of the day to feel like she's recognized for learning and progress and for doing her best. And if she's constantly ending on orange or blue or the colors that are bad, it just lends itself to discouragement and comparison between the kids. Like, she feels like, I'm not as good of a kid, or you must not love me as much. And I mean, I've had those conversations with some of my kids when they kind of go through spells where they are getting the same color over and over and over again, and they really, wish they could be on purple, and, so-and-so's always on purple, and how come I'm not on purple and I'm just not as good? And so that kind of...
That thing. Yes, baby, you're not as good at that thing.
But they don't equate it as good at that thing. They equate it as I'm just not good.
That's why I say those words to them. You're not as good at that thing. But if you practice hard, you can be good at that thing.
Right. Well, but then I want to recognize them for what they are good at and help them feel like they have value for who they are, and that it's not a comparison between one child and another child of who's a better person. It's just, this is the tool we're using to help you make better choices. It's really, for me, it's about the incentives that they can earn and the consequences they can earn, and knowing that they know what's going to happen. If they choose this behavior, then this is the thing that they're going to get for that behavior. So I want it to be predictable for them, so that it's not like based on my whims for the day, or based on how I'm feeling. Like, if the consequences are just based on my emotions for the day, then that's going to be really constantly changing and unpredictable for them. Yeah.
You wouldn't
of
recognize
course.
it.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be intentional. It just would be, and they would have, the thing where they'd have to kind of be filling out what's mom feeling like today, and can I get away with this, or are things going to go bad?
So we call this a behavior chart as in it's helping our kids' behavior, but the truth is it's also guiding a lot of our own behavior.
Oh, yeah,
because
absolutely.
we'll take a look at it, and I'll feel like some kid has just really probably not been doing the right thing because no one's been doing the right thing, and then I look at the clip chart, and that kid is on a really high color, and I realize, oh well, I'm just feeling overwhelmed about all the chaos that this other kid is causing,
right.
And so I probably shouldn't get upset with that one. He's actually been doing the right thing. We keep saying he when we talk about good things, and she when we talk about anger. But so it helps us to gauge our own behavior and the way that we treat the kids, so that we can treat the bad kids bad and the good kids good. That can't be the right thing. But it also helps them, like you're saying, know what the expectations are, what the consequences are going to be, and they can see it coming, as opposed to just like, you're in trouble and now I got to come up with some creative consequence for, I don't know, I'm just so angry. Just go sit down. It's coming later. Wait till your dad gets home, or whatever it is.
The other thing that it really helps with, and is you get that way, that emotion where it's I'm really frustrated with maybe one child or two children, but then the third child who's really been fine all day does one thing, and because I'm already like amped up, then I want to come down really heavy and really hard on that one. But they haven't really done anything at all today, and it's the other kid's fault. So then that keeps the behavior consistent for the kids who have been doing fine all day.
And to be fair, the other it works the other way too, because you can have a kid who's just been goofing off. They've been disobeying and they've been, getting clipped down and clipped down and clipped down. But you feel like they're so cute and they're probably good, and maybe we'll let this one slide when they've actually just been disobedient the whole day and been cute about it. And so then you get appropriate consequences for that as well.
Totally. Yeah. We do have some things that we call guaranteed clip ups in our house.
I don't like them.
Well, we kind of, I don't know. We need to talk about that some more, but
This is the place. Let's talk about it.
Okay. Well, we had been doing them for, we had been having kids do chores to earn money, and at some point there was kind of a crossover between the chores they could do and whether or not they would get a quarter for that thing or get a clip up for that thing. And at this point, they pretty much all will opt for the clip up, because the incentive at the end of the day is high enough, and they would rather have that incentive today than more money next week.
Or more money tonight. Money just doesn't mean a lot to them at this point.
Not at this. They're too young probably. Anyway, there's things that we offer them that they can clip up for. Unloading the dishwasher, or cleaning up certain parts of the house at certain times, helping with the baby, stuff like that. So those are things that if they're if they've kind of struggled at certain points and lost their way a little bit, then they can earn their way back up and kind of, I don't know, some of the kids use it to kind of solidify their position at the top.
And up there it doesn't really matter that much, but the whole point of it is, this is a scorecard of your behavior for the day.
Sure.
So if you've been disobeying all day, I don't see what unloading the dishwasher has to do with that, unless you're getting clipped up because I said, would anyone like to unload the dishwasher? And you jumped up and you said, I would like to. Then I get to clip you up because that's a behavior thing.
Right.
But if it's if you're wanting your tablet later on in bed, you're not on the right color, but if you do this thing, then I'll let you have that. I don't see what that has to do with behavior at all. I think that's the opposite of behavior, and it
just kind
wrecks
of
the chart.
evolved into that at some point.
Parenting is that way.
Yeah.
I think the behavior chart should be the behavior chart, and the incentives, the rewards for doing, the bribes for the chores should be the bribes for the chores, and the two shouldn't get mixed up.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. I guess we'll see. I thought that was your idea.
No way.
Guaranteeing the clip ups?
No.
I'm pretty sure you came up with that.
I've never even heard the term guaranteed clip up until right now in this recording.
You brought it up to the kids.
No.
When we were talking about, I can't remember what, I think it was dishes, and that was your thing. Like, well, why don't we offer them some guaranteed clip ups if you do XYZ chore, Ben?
No.
Pretty sure I got that.
No, I like the randomness of I'm not going to tell you exactly all the things. No, if you're being good, I'm going to catch those things. I'm going to reward all the people who are being good. And
I'm pretty sure that was you.
If you're being bad, you know it, and you know what the consequences are. They're coming for you, and I don't need to give you any warnings. If you do that one more time, I'm going to clip you down, or that's wrong. You should not do that. Those are guaranteed clip downs. I guarantee I'll clip you down if you do that one more time. That's a horrible strategy.
Right.
Okay, then the guaranteed clip ups are the same bad strategy, but in the other direction.
Well, except they're not like, with what the one you're saying, if you do it one more time, I'm going to clip you down. That's giving multiple warnings for the same offense rather than just acting on it immediately.
Right.
As opposed to them always knowing that if they just got clipped down, they can say, can I go unload the dishwasher for you? And they'll get clipped up for that.
Yes.
So
all the stuff that I said didn't make any sense, and it was a terrible argument. I still feel the same way.
Okay.
I think it's a bad idea. Either way, The behavior chart should be for behavior, and that's what the chart is for. And we have other charts for other things if we need other charts. But maybe a warning chart, or maybe a chores chart, or maybe a whatever. But this is for behavior.
Right. Well, we don't currently have a chores chart. Maybe we just need to work on that. That needs to be the next thing.
Coming soon.
Coming soon.
The chores chart. Until then, make sure that you like us on
No, wait, hang on.
Oh, what?
We're not done yet.
Okay. Don't like us yet. This could still suck.
It's important to keep the clip chart in a handy location. This is really, really important.
Oh, yeah.
We have ours on a magnet clip, and it's we stick it on a magnet board that's in our playroom, but we could also move it to like the refrigerator or the side of the microwave or anything else that's magnetic. And that was really important because then whenever they're clipping up or whenever they're clipping down, you can just send them to go do that thing, and the change is going to happen immediately rather than, oh, the clip chart is, on the other end of the house. So when I go back out there to move the laundry, then I'll remember to do it, and I won't remember to do it. And then we're just relying on each other's memory for, oh, remember when you clipped me up earlier for doing such and such? And we can't remember what color you're actually supposed to be on, but the kids are always way more optimistic about the color than I am. And also having one in the car, I found to be really helpful. And when we get into the car, then I'll just say, okay, what colors is everybody on? And we'll move them. And I usually remember because I was just in the house, if I do it right away when I get in the car. But that way they have the visual in front of them in the car. And a lot of times there's behavior problems that happen in the car.
I still think, and I'm not the one who does this a lot. You are. I still think that you could just have one clip chart and just take it with you wherever you go. That seems like a better system to me.
If I weren't carrying 15 things in and out of the house every time, I mean, I already make like 3 or 4 trips in and out of the house.
If you wouldn't have had so many kids, that wouldn't be a problem.
Yeah. Then if it weren't one more thing to carry, I might do that. If it, maybe when the kids are older and I don't have to carry them all in. So anyway, the location of the chart is really, really key.
And the biggest thing about having one in the car is just that it's always consistent, which is the whole point of this and every other parenting book or technique that's out there that actually works, is taking the responsibility off of your memory and your feelings and putting all of that on the kids. Yeah. The goal is just to be as consistent as gravity, which is why kids learn how to walk, is because gravity doesn't go by based on how it feels or whatever. It just smashes your face when you don't balance right. And so eventually everyone learns how to walk because it's always going to be exactly the same. And
the boundaries are clear. Consistency and clear boundaries. They know what to expect, exactly what, either direction.
Yeah. Same strength of reward, same strength of consequence every single time. And if it's not working, if the reward is not rewardy enough, then it's time for a new reward. And same thing for the consequences. So you have to kind of gauge based on the behavior that you see over a large amount of time, over a week or so. Sure. If it's like, man, these kids keep getting on red and nobody seems to care, then that's probably because red, the consequence isn't
it doesn't hurt enough.
Right. Yeah. Yep. So you gotta but it'll take some time because sometimes everybody has those days, and it just was a really sucky day and I didn't control my emotions and I got on this color, and so over the next couple of days I'm going to try to change that behavior. But consistency. Yep. That's it for this. I guess I just ruined all of our other posts that ever have to talk about behavior, but just consistency.
No, but it's hard to remember, honestly. Not hard to remember. The word's not hard to remember. The action is hard to carry out. Yeah. So, yeah.
Because we have just as much, if not more, distraction and difficulty behaving correctly as our kids do. If you have difficulty behaving correctly, please like us and follow us everywhere we are.
Instagram.
Follow behind us.
YouTube.
And applaud. Where are we?
We are at crazyblessedadventures.com and on Instagram.